Bakersfield.
Hello.
I am so happy to be with you guys, and I appreciate all the warm welcomes, all the children. It's so beautiful, beautiful. So I am Christina Laster, and first and foremost, I'm a Black woman, mother and grandmother. Very proud about that. I spent 13 years of my life working in public education, and when I put my kids in the education, I realized we had problems. And so it started when I moved from San Diego, because I'm a San Diego native. How many of you guys been to San Diego? So that's my hometown, that's where I was born and raised. I moved from San Diego and went to Riverside County, and I have a 23-year-old daughter who started middle school there. She was harassed, bullied, threatened, racially profiled, I would call it. And I started to complain about that. What are you guys gonna do to protect my daughter? It finally ended in a meeting with the school sheriff. And she said, ma'am, we can't protect your daughter. But what we can do is put her in a juvenile program. I said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me these kids can group up, gang up on my daughter, do whatever they want, and the school is not gonna protect her? She said, racism starts in the home, I can't do nothing about it.
Wow.
I said, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I walked straight into the office, said, disenroll my daughter today, she will not be back.
Good for you.
Because that's my child, and I will protect her. And so I began to homeschool her. And then I had another set of kids who were younger, 13 and 8. And when I entered them into the dual immersion language learning program, I figured all they're gonna be doing is learning language. There can't possibly be any room for anything else, right? They're gonna be learning a second language. How great is that? I wanted them to be globally competitive, right? That's the goal, education. So my daughter, who is a very creative artist, they denied her the ability to draw and journal at school, and I had to get a 504 accommodation just to let her be creative with her art. Wow. You mean to tell me my daughter cannot draw on her free time? She would say at recess, Mommy, I just want to draw. I don't want to play. And if you see her artwork, you would understand what's in her mind. And they harassed her about having markers on the playground, journals on the playground. So why do I have to get a 504 accommodation to protect that? The height of my battle really got fierce when my son entered into the school. So by kindergarten, they had already labeled him, created a stigma for him. First grade, he was on the playground picking up trash. I said, what is this, Caltrans?
Wow.
This ain't Caltrans, this is school. He's coming to get his education. He's not coming to be punished. And even if he's bigger than the other kids, or whatever, darker, you can't punish him for that. Educate him. That's my expectation of you. So by first grade, the teacher came to me and said, I instituted a program for Daniel called 3 Strikes and You're Out.
Ooh.
I said, that sounds like the California penal system. So I had 3 girls and then him, so school to prison pipeline became a reality in my household. And I had to do something about that. I entered into battle with them, found out my son had diabetes. They fought me for 2 years over 61% whole grain bread. That the doctor wrote on a federal 504 accommodation that you must accommodate this child. They said, what do you think we're supposed to do? Order something special just for him? I said, yeah, it's a health situation. You are. That's what you get public funding for. do your job. So, I started to see something. They weren't going to change their behavior. They're just going to keep hiring lawyers, going to the legal department, fighting me back. So I pulled both of my kids out, and at the height of me pulling them out, my son was in second grade with suicidal ideations, saying, they hate me because I'm brown. I said, what happened? He said, they showed Charlie Brown in school and the teacher turned my chair to the wall. I said, 7 years old? Who deserves to get treated like that? 7 years old. I had other parents in the classroom calling me because their kids were disturbed about what the teacher was doing to my Daniel. They didn't want to go to school. So I picked up the phone and called my dad. He's 65 years old. He said, that's still happening? I got a revelation. I said, oh, okay. This is not just now. This is generational, historic, and perpetual, what happens to our kids. All based on the color of their skin, and they try to stick my son on that school to prison pipeline, refused to protect my daughter, and fought me over my other daughter, her creativity. So I'm not going to change your behavior, but I'm definitely going to change mine. How many people want to change their behavior and stop trying to change other people's behavior? So what happened was the parents that went and I'm so glad that they told me what was going on. They went to the school district and said these things were happening to my son, and they felt like it was their obligation to tell the superintendent. The superintendent told them, mind your business, it's not your kid. Make a long story short, I hired a lawyer, but I pulled my son out too, because I have to protect him. That's my job. You cannot take my rewards, my blessings, my gifts, and ruin them that way. And he was only 8 at that time, by the time he was 8. And so I started to look for a way to fight back for other children. Because had those parents not came to me and said, our children are suffering from what they see that this teacher is doing to your son, and we believe that she is making an example of harsh punishment of him, I wouldn't have understood, because how can a 6, 7, or 8-year-old explain these things to you?
Right.
So I always tell parents, whatever your child tells you, believe them.
That's good advice.
Believe them,
Very good advice.
right? There is no reason why a child should go to school every day with their stomach hurting, biting their nails to the nub, pulling their hair out. There's something wrong with that. So I say believe them. And so when I figured out, oh, my dad's 65, my son's 8, my dad said, do I gotta come out of retirement to fight for civil rights? I said, apparently so. Because we got a symbolic victory, but it didn't turn into an actual one. That's when I joined the civil rights battle hard. And I became the education chair for the NAACP in Southwest Riverside County, fighting for all the kids and parents that I could, educating them on their rights. How do you advocate? What do you do? What does this look like? What are your choices? What are your options? Because for us, that's our hope. I don't want my son, my daughter, generations of other children stuck in a failing school, in a failing system that's color-coded and uses systemic oppression to keep them bound from access and opportunity that they will need later in their life. What does that access and opportunity look like? I use the phrase, for our kids, they graduate from the quote-unquote achievement gap to the racial wealth gap. And then you see this generational, perpetual, cyclical thing that takes place. So I come today to share that story with you. And I understand that not everybody could do what I did, but everybody can do something. These are our children, we have to protect them. Okay? And so I can't change what happened back there when my dad was 65. But I can change what I do today, and I see this as an urgent situation every day that the kids are treated that way. I could do a lot by myself, but collectively, we can do more together.
That's right.
We can go further together. And that's why I came to visit you guys. I travel all over to put power back in the hands of parents, to understand that you can stand up and fight back. And let me show you what that looks like. And when you look at the data in the state of California, 80% Black children can't do math at grade level. Talking about all over California. 67% can't read or write at grade level. We're talking about from San Diego to Bakersfield, from Oakland to LA. Then you see that it's systemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when I look at the national averages, Black students haven't progressed since 2000. And back then they only progressed 1 point. That's 20 years. So I'm not gonna wait for them to wait me out. And I know you guys aren't gonna wait for them to wait you out either. Because we will wait 3 more generations and then still be in the same situation. So I offer you guys the thought of collectively standing up and fighting back. Choice allows you to do that. There's a lot of rhetoric around choice, but I'm telling you what my choices and options look like. I'm telling you what your choices and options can be. And I'm telling you that if you don't have them, you need to fight for them. Public dollars go into public education. Okay? And so sometimes we have representatives who consider themselves to be leaders, but we need to remind them that they're representatives often. And that's what we want to do. Making informed decisions about our children's education. Making informed voting decisions as well. If you don't feel represented, get them out of there. Right? And so I could talk about this for days. I've traveled all the way from the South to the Midwest to right here at home. California will always be my home. I'm a proud California native. I always say Liberation Cali style, you know? So anyway, I'm here to answer questions because I do want to get the movie started, but be thinking about this as you're watching. And however I can help, I'm here to support parents and children and their rights. And so here's, I want to thank Chrissy and Shakira and Arlena. These dear ladies contacted me and I said, yeah, let's fight. Too much at stake not to. Because to me, I don't have the option to leave my kids in a toxic environment like that. So whatever we gotta do, let's do it. And so I say today, collectively, together, we can.
She's amazing, isn't she? I recently traveled to New Orleans with her and I witnessed her in action and it blew my mind.